How's it going, everyone? Shifty here. Welcome back to the channel and to my early review of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, for those of you not familiar with Expedition 33, it was classified as a turn-based RPG with real-time mechanics. What that means is it's got like QTEs in some of the turn-based mechanics, which is something I haven't seen before. And one of the big things that kind of drew me towards this game was that, actually, because I saw it when I first saw the initial trailers for this game. That's one of the things that drew me towards it the most. Was I was like, hang on a minute, you've got QTEs in turn-based, which isn't normal. You've also got dodging and parrying mechanics and a jump mechanic within the turn-based as well, and that's a different kind of ball game. So we'll talk about that shortly. But yeah, overall, you know, it is a JRPG at heart. I think it's a turn-based JRPG at heart, and you know, so far I've been very impressed with it, and I'd like to talk about those points. And so, you know, let's get into it. First of all, I'd like to talk about the visuals, and Expedition 33 does not disappoint. The graphics look stunning. The game looks great. All of the locations we've been to so far are drastically unique and different from one another. I'm going to show some of them on the screens here. There's not one location that looks similar to the other one. They all look so different, from the very bleak and kind of dark and almost bland introduction area that you sort of start the game in, like the prologue, to this incredible underwater level that I've been to already. And it's just insane. It looks great. Like, whatever they've done, they've done a really good job. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the other locations, because this has not got to be, you know, there's going to be some more, for sure. The characters themselves all look great too. They're all well designed. Their features look good. The hair looks fantastic. The faces look good. Everything about them looks good. There's nothing bad to say about them. It just looks nice. The whole game's style is just great, and I love every part of it. I will say that the lip sync's a little bit weird at times. And sometimes the game characters don't even look like they're talking at all. Like the game sync, the sync is really weird. It's just like, okay. But I mean, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal, at least for me. Sometimes they're a little off-putting, but I mean, a lot of games these days don't get lip sync perfect, but it is what it is. When it comes to things like the spell effects, the menus, the UIs, all of it looks great. I love the style. It's like a very Persona-style menu, which I thought was fantastic. The prompts are very obvious and very clear when they're there, although it's not always there, which I'll come to in a bit as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, the visuals, spot on. Expedition 33 looks great. And so, having already mentioned some of the combat mechanics, I would like to talk about that now. And I think what's very important is in turn-based, especially turn-based RPGs, you need to have good combat. And Expedition 33 doesn't disappoint me there either, but it does come with a bit of a caveat. So while I do like the combat, I think the general idea is really fun. There's lots of things to think about. A lot of the characters have very unique mechanics that are specific to themselves. At least the three that I've currently played with. I think there's at least a fourth, I think at this point, that will also hopefully have their own unique mechanic as well. And so I like the character variety, the character mechanics. They're all great, and the combat does feel really, really good. It's very expressive, it's very visual, it looks good on the screen. I mentioned it before as well, the menus look like Persona-style menus, and I like that too. And I mentioned as well the QTE, so when you attack with an enemy, or when you attack an enemy, or when you buff your teammates, each attack that you do also has a QTE option. So if you get the QTE, what often happens is you get more damage, or the effect is bigger, or the effect is longer. For example, Gustave, he does a damage increase buff to his teammates, but it's just for one teammate. However, if you hit all the QTEs, I think there's 2 QTEs for it. If you hit both of those, you actually buff the whole team rather than just one team member. So stuff like that, right? That I have no problem with. I think it's really good. I actually think it's great. And what I do like about this feature is you can actually turn this feature off. Well, not necessarily off, but I believe in the menus you can basically say it says always activate the QTE. So you don't actually have to do the QTEs if you don't want to. You can just have it automatically happen, essentially. So if you want to, you can do that. I think that's a nice touch. However, there is an element to this combat system that at the moment I'm still getting used to. Obviously, I'm still learning, and I think I just need to get better at it. But it is something that I have noticed is frustrating for me. And I've noticed as well on forums, and I've looked around briefly, that it's frustrating for other people too, and that is specifically the dodging, the parrying. So in the game, you have a dodge, a parry, and a jump mechanic. And what that means is that when an enemy attacks you, you have the option to dodge them, you have the option to parry them, and in some instances, you have an option to jump, so you can jump over the attack. Now, I'll talk about the jumping in a second, but the dodging and the parrying, while it can feel great to achieve it, I find it often very difficult to do. And there's a couple of reasons for this. A lot of the attacks are very slow wind-up attacks, and they just take forever to execute the attack. And so it's very difficult for you to sometimes time when you think that attack is going to connect, and when you think the attack is going to connect, it's not the right timing, and so you get hit often. There's no visual flash or blink or anything like that on screen. So oftentimes, when I see parry attacks, attacks that you can parry, or attacks that you've got to dodge, they're sometimes represented with flashes of red or flashes of yellow. In this game, there's none of that there. You just have to learn the characters the enemies that you're fighting. You just have to learn them. And what that often means is you're fighting enemies over and over and over again, simply because you're trying to learn when to dodge and when to parry. And oftentimes that's a little bit frustrating, because for me it's well, I should just be able to learn to react to the enemy. When I see the enemy attack, I react on the spot and I dodge the attack. It doesn't happen here. Unfortunately, a lot of the time here, when you do that, you get hit. The parry is too early or it's too late, the dodge is too early or it's too late. And it's a bit frustrating, especially when I play it on the hardest difficulty, which I like to do for the extra challenge. The problem is, a lot of the time, enemies can one or two shot me. So if I don't dodge or parry every single time, I lose a character almost immediately. And it can be very frustrating to have to rewind a fight constantly just to know exactly when I should press parry and exactly when I should press dodge. Because by comparison, there's this jump mechanic. Now, the jump mechanic does have an on-screen prompt every single time. So whenever the enemy jumps, they jump, it's very obvious that they're jumping, but you get this kind of this on-screen flash, this prompt that comes up that says, hey, it's time to jump. You react because you see it on screen, you react, you jump, you dodge. Great, wonderful. But why does that not with parry and with dodge? It feels strange that it's only the jump mechanic that gives you the on-screen kind of boom, let's go, time to jump, and dodging and parrying doesn't. I would honestly like dodging and parrying to have more of a visual effect on screen, especially because things like the parrying window is very small, and sometimes it's not super obvious when an enemy is going to unleash the attack, and when they do unleash the attack, it's also sometimes not super easy to know, like I said, when it's going to connect. It's just very difficult. Because, with the jump mechanic as well, if you do manage to execute the jump, you also get an opportunity to counter. So you get a chance to jump and counter to do counter damage to the enemy. I like that mechanic. I don't get the jumps every time, but I get them a lot more frequently than I do the dodge and the parries. And the on-screen prompt just makes it so much better. So, for me, the combat itself, I think, is great on overall. I just think the dodging and the parrying, at the moment anyway, are definitely bits I need to get better at. I've had in the first 7 or 8 hours I played, I've had some frustrating times when I've just not been able to dodge and parry on time, and it doesn't feel good. So I would like to see them change it. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But that's just my comments on it. I do want to touch on the story now. It is an early review, so I don't want to say too much without spoiling anything, but so far, it is interesting. I like where it's going. I have many, many questions as to what's going to happen or what the outcome is going to be. I have some theories in my head that I talked about during my playthrough so far, but yeah. So far, it's got me hooked. It's got me engaged, and so it will give you a general idea. You kind of find this out right at the beginning, so I don't think it's too much of a spoiler here. But basically, the general idea is that there is something called a Paintress. I don't even know what it is yet, but they're called a Paintress. And this Paintress paints a number on all it looks like is a giant tower. And whatever number they paint is how long you can live for, how long people can live for. So if it says 33, for example, anybody over 33, if you're 34, you instantly just kind of vanish. And we see that happen at the very beginning of the game. We see a whole bunch of people that were 34 just vanish when the Paintress changes the number from 34 to 33. You just evaporate. You're gone. We don't know why, or what for, or where they go, if they're gone completely, or if they go somewhere else. At this stage, it's assumed they're gone forever and nobody knows where they go. And the expeditions which is what we take part in. The expeditions are a group of fighters, a group of people that essentially sail off towards the Paintress. So they head off towards the Paintress with the idea to defeat her. So the idea at the moment is to go to the Paintress, defeat the Paintress, and end the cycle. Is generally the idea. There have been a lot of expeditions before 33. I think it officially started at expedition 100, and it's gone all the way down, I think, to 33. And so far, every single expedition has failed. And as you sail away, as we sail away in the main game, we land at a new island, we land at a new continent. And as we sort of start to traverse through there so far, we do start to find remnants of those other expeditions lying around in the form of their flags. Like they have camp flags lying around, 35 or 60 or whatever. And we're also getting some like audio logs from those expeditions that are giving us a bit of an idea of maybe what they went through in their last moments. And so far, we don't really know much more than that. We landed on the island, on the continent. It didn't go well for us to start with. A lot of people met some very nasty ends very quickly, but we are now sort of gathering our team back together, and the idea is to head off still towards the Paintress and deal with them one way or another. And I don't know how that's going to end up, but I'm really interested to see where it goes. So far, very interested. Next up is audio and sound. Now, one of the first things I'd like to say is the voice actors all do a great job. I mentioned before that sometimes the lip sync doesn't look super good, but the voice actors all do a fantastic job. They all look really, really good. The actor, I believe, that plays Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3 is in here. Maelle, name of character is, and she's fantastic, but everyone else sounds really good. So, yep, really like it. The overall music, like the combat music, the overworld music, the sort of general camp music, it's all great. It's just fantastic. They did such a good job with it. Some of the combat beats are real bangers, if I'm honest with you. Especially this one, where you fight these mimes. Yes, mimes, which is kind of fun fights. But you fight these mimes, and this is the music that they play, and it's one of my favorite ones. And to kind of close out this little review, I want to just say that it's a great game so far. I'm having a really good time with it. The characters are good fun. It's got an interesting story. The combat is super engaging and it's fun. Even with those some little annoyances that I mentioned previously, it's visually stunning. It sounds great. It's a must play. It is a must play for any RPG fan. I highly recommend Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you haven't picked it up already, pick it up. If you can't pick it up, play it. Watch somebody else play it, because you're missing out. It's such a great game, and certainly one of my favorites of this year so far. So yeah, highly recommend. And so that'll do it from me. I hope you found this review useful. Let me know any comments, any tips, any tricks I could do next time. I'm still trying to do these and get better at them, so I'd love any feedback that you want to give me. But I appreciate the support. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe for more. We'll be doing more of these with other games I play early and finishing them, so I can kind of give you an idea of how I feel about when I started, when I finish the games. Love to have you around for that. I've got other videos coming out. I stream every day. Really appreciate to have you there as well. And until next time, thanks very much for your time, and bye-bye.